Thanks so much for your time today, Kurt and Shelley. So I wanted to take some time for the financial plan today and talk a little bit more about some of the pros and cons of a 529 as compared to a UTMA account. This can be a really big decision when planning for your college for the three of your kids. We want to make sure that we put all the investments in the best type of vehicle that will try to maximize our benefits both in the short and the longer term. So first I want to start off and talk about some of the benefits of looking into a UTMA account. So one of the things that a UTMA account is known for as compared to a 529 is the added flexibility. So there are really two ways that this type of account adds flexibility. So the first one is you can use this for things other than college expenses. So with a UTMA account, you can save this money for the kids, you can be the custodian throughout their childhood years until they're grown, and then once they hit the age of majority, they could use this for anything. So they could use it for college, they could use it for their first home, car, whatever that would be. And that differs from the 529 where that has to be used for qualified education expenses. So when we're this far out for the kids, planning for college can be difficult because you don't know exactly how much you'll need. So if any of the three kids become a star athlete and have a full scholarship, or they end up getting incredible grades and get that education scholarship you've been looking for, if it's in a 529, that's going to limit the type of flexibility you have, where with a UTMA account, they could use that for something else if they were able to do that. The other way you have flexibility with a UTMA account is by the type of investment choices and options that you'd have in that type of account. So with a 529, one of the potential downsides is you're limited to a few, usually age-based options. So those accounts aren't bad. They're usually diversified portfolios with a balanced mix of stocks and bonds, which get more conservative over time. However, with a UTMA account, if it's something you wanted to be more hands-on with or have us manage for you, then we could look at many different investment options besides just those age-based options. So you could look at individual stocks, you could look at select mutual funds or ETFs, pretty much anything you can usually invest within a traditional brokerage account. You have the flexibility to, as long as it would make sense for this goal in that type of account. So you have a lot more flexibility with the UTMA. However, one of the downsides with the UTMA account is it may not be as tax efficient for you. So looking at the tax benefits of a 529, you will have those qualified educational expenses, and as long as you use the money for those, you can take it out tax-free once you hit once you hit your education goals for the kids. Whereas a UTMA account, all those gains and the growth will be taxed. So not only will it be taxed when you take it out, but also in the short term, whenever there's dividends, distributions, or any trades are made, that will also be potential short-term or dividend income to the children that they'll have to realize as well. So those are two reasons where it may not be as viable of an option from a tax standpoint. But there are some pros for the 529 as well. So when you look at it, talking about taxes, because of the tax benefits of a 529, you could probably get away with a smaller initial investment in that account, because once you have this money grow over time, tax deferred for you, and then you can take that out tax-free in the 529, you won't have to save as much as if you were to be taxed on the money at a later date. And also something to consider is how viable of an option it is when looking for financial aid. So a lot of colleges and other programs look for who owns more of the funds, and that can change how the financial calculation is looked at. So for example, a UTMA account, since it is going to be in the name of the kids, that can be looked at less favorably than a 529 account, which would be in both of your names. So for that reason, if looking to maximize the potential financial aid you may get down the line, with which rising college costs would be a great thing if you're able to get some of that financial aid, that would be a benefit of the 529. Finally, looking at some of the cons of the 529. So traditionally, one of the benefits of a 529 plan is that you can change the beneficiaries. So if with your oldest, if you don't need all of the funds, you can change the beneficiary on that, and it can go on to some of the younger children. And you can continue to cycle this through the family members. However, because this is a rollover from the UTMA account, it limits that option. So it will be set that whoever initially has the 529 plan, that's who the money will have to be used for. So you don't have as much flexibility as you traditionally would in a 529 account. And also, by doing this type of conversion, there could be some immediate taxes to you in the short term. So since this money was inherited, if there is any gains by doing the conversion, you could realize some of those taxes. That's more of a minor thing to consider. However, it is something to be aware of. So that's pretty much the broad summary of these different investment options. What I would suggest is to lean more towards the 529. From speaking with you both, it sounds like you have a pretty good idea of what you're looking for as far as your education goals. And if you are sure about how much you'll need and what college will look like for your kids, the 529, the tax benefits you get from that really would outweigh more of the flexibility you get in the short term with the UTMA account. So that's where I'd suggest starting off with when we get this money inherited. So thank you for your time and have a good rest of your day. Thanks.